This is Sean O'Malley, and you're watching Full-Time MMA. Don't be a bagel-biting, bagel bitch boy, bagel bitch back.
What is going on, full-time family? We've got quite a few things to talk about today. We're going to talk about Yair Rodriguez's post-fight meltdown after the controversial no contest this weekend at UFC Mexico City, Rodriguez versus Jeremy Stephens, which of course ended when Yair Rodriguez raked Jeremy Stephens' eye to the point he could not continue, only 15 seconds in the fight. But after watching the post-fight meltdown, you would think it was Yair Rodriguez who was the one that got fouled and couldn't fight. Beta Yair Rodriguez. We're going to talk about that and a few more things, including Jorge Masvidal versus Nate Diaz and Daniel Cormier versus Stipe Miocic 3. So, with that being said, I would like to be putting out more videos. I haven't been as active as I would like to be, but that's because I got a second job and I've already started now. So I've been working these two jobs alpha big full time. So soon, probably after Christmas, we're going to be ramping things up, but I'm going to work these two jobs until at least Christmas just to, save up some money, get things taken care of. So once that's done, once I drop my second job and potentially get another promotion in my first job, we'll be back to YouTubing. So with that being said, let's talk about Yair Rodriguez and his post-fight meltdown. So I think the best way to talk about this first is not even just to talk about the Michael Bisping aspect of it, which was ridiculous. And Yair Rodriguez was quickly checked by his corner man once he snapped at Michael Bisping. Had to tell him, hey, that's Michael Bisping. That's not just some random announcer that you're snapping at and calling him a mierda puto and all of this shit. You might want to chill before Michael Bisping beats all of us down. Seriously. Don't forget you're a featherweight. Bisping fought at 185, 205. He'll beat me down, he'll beat you down, so apologize for you get us all fucked up. I know you're emotional right now, Beta Yair, but you need to apologize to who you just snapped at, because that's Michael Bisping. And Yair quickly realized he fucked up. That's when he Bisping, alpha Michael Bisping. He could have squared up with Yair right there. Like, whoa, chill. He was a professional there. He was a professional with Jorge Masvidal whenever he saw him backstage, whenever Masvidal was going to fight Darren Till. So, man, salute to Michael Bisping, the GOAT. All right, so after Jeremy Stephens versus Yair Rodriguez, which of course ended in 15 seconds, there was an ugly scene that erupted with fans throwing cups and beers and popcorn, anything they had in their hands, they were throwing it in the cage because they were pissed off. The fight that they paid to come and see, the main event, especially after a controversial decision in the co-main event, they didn't get to see a fight. Everyone showed up to see Yair Rodriguez fight Jeremy Stephens, and that fight was canceled in 15 seconds due to the eye rake. So I understand why the fans were irate. See what I did there? I understand why the fans were pissed off, but still, there's no reason to assault fighters by throwing things in the octagon. Beta Mexican fans! The wall going up. No, but seriously, makes you reconsider, right? Yair Rodriguez versus Jeremy Stephens. Right, Yair committed the foul. Jeremy Stephens did not want to not fight. Anybody who accused Jeremy Stephens of ducking Yair Rodriguez and finding a way out of the fight, they are a casual in the highest order. If you question Jeremy Stephens' heart, you are a casual fan of the highest order. Honestly, if you're a diehard Yair Rodriguez fan, you're probably a casual fan of the highest order. Either way, there's no way Jeremy Stephens was ducking that fight, and Jeremy Stephens has since came out and he said, listen, that was some bullshit. You guys are acting like I'm the one that scratched his eye, but I want to fight. I'll rematch him. And honestly, after the fight, I was pissed at Yair's, I wasn't pissed, but I was extremely surprised at Yair Rodriguez's reaction. I couldn't understand it. Like, I understand the crowd, but I couldn't understand why Yair Rodriguez was screaming and jumping, and he literally went through like the 5 stages of emotion, like denial, anger, bargaining. You know, he went through all of it. Dabda. He went through all 5 stages. He was crying at one point. He accepted it in the end. He went through so much different emotions after that. And he's the one that scratched Jeremy's eye. Beta Yair. And so Jeremy Stephens is willing to rematch him regardless of how Yair Rodriguez behaved after the fight. If I'm Jeremy Stephens, motherfucker, you're going to have to beg me. You serious? You scratched my eye, put my vision in danger. I couldn't continue the fight, and you're acting like I was scared of you? I don't feel like Yair Rodriguez deserves to fight Jeremy Stephens, but Jeremy Stephens, of course, being a boss, always down, of course, never scared. He's down to rematch Yair. And honestly, on paper, Jeremy Stephens just might dog walk Yair Rodriguez just in a different way than Frankie Edgar did. That was my immediate reaction. I said, okay, don't give him a Jeremy Stephens rematch. Yair needs to be fed back to Frankie Edgar. They need to remind him who the fuck he is. Are you kidding me? You're going to disrespect a veteran like Jeremy Stephens like that after the fight? Who's put in all this work, laid the groundwork for you? Giving you an opportunity to fight him? And you're gonna behave like this? Okay, how about you go rematch Frankie Edgar? Hey, Frankie, before you move to 135, how about you come fight Yair one more time? This motherfucker's wildin'. So Yair Rodriguez, wild. Jeremy Stephens, he's down to rematch. He doesn't expect Yair to accept the rematch, which if Yair doesn't, that would just be insane. I mean, and Jeremy Stephens said, look, we're both still healthy. We're both still in shape. Let's set this up quick. Let's rematch quick. Clearly, it's not going to be back in Mexico unless the UFC's coming to Mexico again this year. But we can do it again next month. It'll be on my home crowd. Let's see how you handle it there. Especially after behaving like that. So many jokes about, the Mexican fans and, like maybe they should fight in DC. I wonder how it would go, because there is a DC card coming up. But either way, we've got a few more things to talk about. I definitely wanted to discuss that. But also, Jorge Masvidal talking about his fight with at UFC 244 with Nate Diaz. I just watched about a 40-minute interview between Ariel Helwani and Jorge Masvidal on YouTube, which was, of course, must watch. Anything Jorge Masvidal that's a lengthy interview is usually a must watch. Very, very smart individual, and he's a very captivating speaker. He just doesn't he's not about that talk. He's about that action, boss. So he doesn't show it all the time. So now that he's getting the spotlight and the money he deserves, and he's opening up more about his story, I think it's awesome that he's finally getting the recognition. Anybody that's been a fan of this channel for the last 3-4 years knows he's been one of my favorite fighters from the beginning, all the way back when I did my Versus the World series. I had a Jorge Masvidal Versus the World, and I did lightweight and welterweight because I just know the history of all the split decision robberies. People keep talking about, oh, you got the most split decisions in UFC. He's got the most fucking robberies. Blatant robberies. People ain't spotlighting that part. He got robbed. A couple of those split decisions could have went either way out of the 6. A good 4 of them were robberies. And that was just the most recent 6. There was more in the beginning of the career. It's ridiculous. 45 professional fights, not slurring his words, no CTE to be found. That speaks volumes. Fuck out of here. Masvidal says Kamaru Usman rejected the fight at UFC 244. He says that guy's knows I'll baptize him. Kamaru Usman was supposed to fight Colby Covington. When Colby Covington couldn't make it, you would think that they just put in Masvidal. So now why is Usman not able to fight? So you're telling me Covington and Usman are injured? Like, what the fuck? So it doesn't make sense for Usman to not be able to accept the fight unless he's rejecting it. I don't understand why he would. Well, I do, because Jorge Masvidal's a BMF, which is why he's fighting for the BMF title. It makes sense. So Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington looking a little suspect, having to withdraw from UFC 244. But don't worry, we got some real fighters. We got some BMFs taking their place. Masvidal versus Diaz. I heard some people talking about Masvidal and Diaz don't deserve to headline Madison Square Garden. You motherfuckers are crazy. You're out of your mind. Masvidal Diaz is gonna sell 3 times more pay-per-views than Covington versus Usman would. You just only reason you don't feel like they don't deserve it is what? Because they don't have that little gold political belt. They're not fighting for the belt. Jorge Masvidal has more professional fights on his resume than Usman and Covington combined. What the fuck are you talking about? And he's going to be fighting Nate Diaz, 2 of the biggest stars in the game. Neither one of these guys are coming to sniff crotches. None of them. They're coming to fight. Baddest motherfuckers in the game. That's why the BMF title makes so much sense, because it's so realistic. These are the baddest motherfuckers in the game. When you're talking about real fighters, not athletes that think it's cool to be known as a UFC champion, I'm talking about guys that fought before fighting was cool. Let's go. Masvidal versus Diaz, UFC 244. Also, we're going to talk about Joseph Benavidez believing the dark cloud hanging over the flyweight division is finally gone. Oh my God, am I the only one that read that and thought, racist? For one, he said dark cloud is finally gone. Demetrius Johnson was black. Get it? Dark cloud's gone. The black guy's gone. Then he said the word hanging. You can't use the word dark and hanging in the same sentence. Some people are racially sensitive. I'm just kidding, but I'm seriously, that's how fucking crazy people sound sometimes. You people gotta get your shit together. Joseph Benavidez believes the dark cloud hanging over the flyweight division is finally gone, and he's not talking about Demetrius Johnson. Well, he kinda is, but not in that way. There was a dark cloud over the flyweights in terms of people believed the flyweights were boring. People believed the flyweights couldn't sell. They were not entertaining. They couldn't succeed at multiple weight classes. And now with King Henry Cejudo, Triple C, that stigma's gone. Henry Cejudo was out here selling fights. He's out here doing the most. He's also succeeding at multiple weight classes as he's the current bantamweight and flyweight champion, so that stigma's gone. And he's also becoming one of the bigger stars in the UFC through his antics, and not through his fighting. It's not because of his fighting. I mean, the TJ fight was awesome, but really it's a lot of his antics that people are starting to enjoy and pay attention to, whether it's when he's slamming the snake or wearing the king outfit or he's talking to Nikki Bella. I shouldn't even know who Nikki Bella is, and I do because of Henry Cejudo. So he's cross-promoting with the WWE very well. He's moving up to multiple weight classes. He's making call-outs, intergender call-outs, calling out flyweights, calling out retired guys, calling out old men, calling out everyone but the number one contenders. I just now finally seen Henry Cejudo call out Aljamain Sterling, which I've been waiting for, because Aljamain Sterling is the best bantamweight on the planet, for sure, outside of probably Henry Cejudo. He's proven that. I mean, Marlon Moraes, those guys are up there, but Aljamain Sterling, if you look at his resume, he's only got 3 losses. 2 of those are split decisions, and one of them was literally a accidental KO, which his opponent admitted in the post-fight speech. He said, I didn't even mean to knock him out like that. I just meant to go throw a kick, and he ducked into it. So that wasn't even my intention of knocking him out, but hey, I'll take it. That's not how that was supposed to go, though. That wasn't a planned, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't something he premeditated. That was an accident, and he won. Congratulations. And other than that, Aljamain Sterling has only lost split decisions. So he's never been dominated ever in a fight. And he's continued to just beat high-level guys. And so I would love to see Aljamain Sterling fight for the title. I think he deserves it. Only thing is, of course, he doesn't have he's getting there. He's starting to call people out. He's doing the whole thing. He's got the gold chain. He's interviews and Aljamain Sterling is working his way up there. You know, a lot of people feel like, oh, you know, when politics are on your side, they never can be. That's not true. Aljamain Sterling is doing it very well. And I think he will get an opportunity because of it. He's on his way to a title shot, and he's continuing to call out Cejudo. He got a response. He responded right back. Great response from Aljamain. So he's playing the game, and I think it's going to work out for Aljamain. I do think he'll get that title shot. But Henry Cejudo is a great wrestler, so that's going to be a tough fight. But I really like Aljamain's chances if he ever does get that opportunity. And as far as Joseph Benavidez, he's got a win over Cejudo, but I watched that fight. Cejudo won that shit in my eyes. The judges gave it to Benavidez, but I think if they were to rematch, I think Cejudo wins the fight this time. Like I think he won the first time. His wrestling is just a little too much for most of these flyweights, honestly. Especially seeing how he's succeeding at bantamweight. Some, you know, just a guy that's an Olympic level wrestler, a gold medalist, who, you know, even fighting the guys that are a little bit smaller at flyweight. He's even got better odds at flyweight, I believe. So I for sure think Cejudo should fight Benavidez next. It makes sense, but I got Cejudo. Last thing I want to talk about is Daniel Cormier, the GOAT, taking on Stipe Miocic in his potential retirement fight. Daniel Cormier is calling it his retirement fight. It very well could be. He already fought Jon Jones twice. He doesn't need to fight that cheater again anyways, honestly. I mean, and Jon Jones, there's no reason for him to. Jon Jones is scared of fighting him in a heavyweight. The first fight was before USADA. The second fight was a no contest because you failed your drug test, and you're scared of the third fight at heavyweight. So in my eyes, Daniel Cormier's got no reason to rematch Jon Jones, who clearly wants zero smoke when you can't have steroids and you're in my weight class. So Daniel Cormier, in my eyes, already beat Jon Jones 3-0, 30'd his ass, but it is what it is. I know some people disagree. I don't give a fuck about the knockout because USADA overturned that. That's people say, oh, Jon Jones knocked out Daniel Cormier. When? Go look at the records. That was overturned. That is not in the record books as a knockout. The only win Jon Jones has over Daniel Cormier was a decision, and that was pre-USADA. So don't give me that knockout shit. Daniel Cormier, greatest fighter of all time, even after losing to Stipe Miocic. I say that because DC already beat Stipe Miocic, and he won 3 rounds against Stipe Miocic. Daniel Cormier was winning every single minute in that fight up until the last minute. So when it comes to DC versus Stipe, even in the trilogy, I got Daniel Cormier, the GOAT, who had success in multiple weight classes, was undefeated at heavyweight before the most recent fight. People act like Daniel Cormier, who's one of the greatest fighters of all time, if not the, trains with one of the greatest teams of all time, if not the American Kickboxing Academy. You don't think they can game plan for body shots in a trilogy fight? How about Daniel Cormier we all watched the fight. He fell in love with his boxing. He was having success. He was winning the boxing. The wrestler was winning the boxing with Stipe Miocic, who's known as one of the best boxers in the heavyweight division. Daniel Cormier was outboxing him. He fell in love with it and wanted the knockout. By the time he started eating those body shots, he was already too tired to resort to his wrestling that he should have been using. So what happens in the trilogy if Daniel Cormier just goes in, I'm taking this motherfucker down, Rumble Johnson style, and I might get him out of there. Like, I would love to see the trilogy people are writing DC off, and I think that's ridiculous. With everything that he's proven, he's undefeated in his entire career. The only person that ever beat him in 2 weight classes, the heaviest weight classes, light heavyweight and heavyweight, the heaviest weight classes in MMA. The only 2 people that beat him was the guy that people call the greatest of all time, who was also on steroids, and a guy that he beat already. So it's not like Stipe just beat him and has a win over him. No, now they're 1-1. And in Stipe's win, Daniel Cormier won 3 rounds. He was winning the fight. So Daniel Cormier is, in my opinion, still the greatest of all time. I know people might disagree with that, but I hope he doesn't retire after this fight for that reason. I would love to see Jon Jones come and get his ass whooped at heavyweight, but he said, no, that's too much of a challenge. It wouldn't make sense for me. He didn't give a good excuse. He said it's too much of a challenge. It wouldn't make sense for me. This dude is trying to get all these... For those of you who don't know, the UFC's new belt design, it's got like rubies on it. I'll pull it up for you. And it's like, when you first win a belt, you've got like 8 white diamonds. And for every title defense, you turn that diamond into a ruby. So you get little red rubies instead of diamonds. So if you've got 3 title defenses, you've got 3 red rubies and 5 diamonds. Just white crystals. Jon Jones is trying to fill his belt up with rubies. If he goes up there and fights Daniel Cormier and loses, it's literally like Cyborg going to Bellator. Jon Jones doesn't want to lose while he's still known as the GOAT. If Jon Jones loses to Daniel Cormier, people are going to be like, oh, look, the only reason you won all these fights is because of steroids. As soon as Jon Jones loses, that's what people are going to say. Oh, look, you're clean. That means you've been cheating this whole time. So if you go up to heavyweight and you lose, that's what people are going to say. They're not going to think you beat Daniel Cormier fair. As long as you don't fight Daniel Cormier, you can continue to run around and masquerade as the GOAT. Same thing with Cyborg. If you fight Amanda Nunes again and lose, you can no longer say you're the GOAT. People are going to say the sport is past you. They're going to say you haven't been fighting real competition. But as long as you run to Bellator and you don't have to fight Nunes again, you can keep masquerading as a potential GOAT. No, I wanted the rematch. I'm not scared. I'm still one of the greatest. I'm still the greatest. I just can't fight her because I'm not in UFC no more. It's the same thing. They're avoiding losing to prolong their legacy. And it is what it is. You know, game recognized game. But DC's the motherfucking GOAT. And with that being said, it is what it is. Make sure you go to Discord. The link is in the description. We're over there talking each and every day, even during the fights. I've been extremely inactive on YouTube due to my 2 jobs, but I'm still on Discord. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot easier to just hop on the chat and interject rather than have to make a whole video, upload it, title it, tag it, all this bullshit that comes along with YouTube that pays pennies. So yeah. With that being said, I'll see you guys on the next video, potentially this week. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments. And of course, on the Discord. Link is in the description. I'm out.